Now we're going to give you more perspective on today's developments in Egypt. I'm now being joined via Skype by senior foreign correspondent, Channel 4 News, Jonathan Rugman. He's in Cairo right now. So, Jonathan, we know a state of emergency has been declared, and what can you see right now?
Well, Cairo is extremely quiet. The drive-in from the airport to the centre of the city was almost deserted, and if you know how crazily busy Cairo can be with its something like 19 million people, you'll know what a surprise that is. People are keeping behind their doors, keeping themselves to themselves, and effectively martial law has been declared because there is, as you say, a month-long state of emergency as well as an evening curfew here in Cairo. And the health ministry is now saying that 235 civilians were killed today, along with over 2,000 wounded. The Muslim Brotherhood says those figures are in fact much, much higher. But whatever the truth, this is clearly the most violent single day Egypt has seen in decades.
Well, indeed, there is that curfew right now. Can journalists like yourself work and move around, or is it an all-out crackdown like we see? What's it like for you?
So I missed your question. I think you said, what is it like here?
Yes, my question is about the curfew. Is it an all-out crackdown? Can journalists like yourself move around, or is everybody going to have to be holed up?
Well, I just walked across Tahrir Square to get to this position where I am now. There were armoured personnel carriers on the streets and at major junctions. I think Tahrir Square, of course, having been the scene of protests on June the 30th, which in fact encouraged and indeed led to the army moving in and toppling President Morsi, that's a pretty safe place to be. But I would not want to go any further than Tahrir Square at this time of night, especially not after a colleague of mine, a Sky News cameraman, was shot and killed earlier today. And another colleague of mine who works for Channel 4 News was beaten up by plainclothes thugs presumed to be working for the state authorities. Cameras are being confiscated at Cairo's international airport, and there's a real sense that the authorities here do not want the events here being covered.
Okay, what about emergency services? Are there anything like that available? We know there are indeed many people injured. Have you seen anything like that at the moment? That's in terms of emergency services, people coming in to try and see to the injured.
Well, you have to remember that the violence started in the early hours of this morning, about 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's pretty much over by now in the two camps that the Muslim Brotherhood had, where it had thousands of supporters on the streets of Cairo. I did see 6 ambulances this evening heading towards the Rabat al Adawiya Mosque, which is where most of the protesters were based. I think the question is now, what is the Muslim Brotherhood going to do? Is it going to carry on protesting, or is it going to take the message from the security forces, which is that they will not tolerate protests and they will shoot to kill, which is what we saw happen today?
I was going to ask you about that because we did hear that key members of the Muslim Brotherhood were arrested. Is there any word on that? A lot of arrests have been happening up to today, but we did hear that some key members were arrested. What can you tell us about that?
My understanding is that there were several arrests today of Muslim Brotherhood leaders. One of them, Mohammed el-Beltaghi, who is the Secretary General of the Muslim Brotherhood's political party. His 17-year-old daughter was killed today in these protests. And of course, President Morsi himself, who was ousted, has not been seen for the last 6 weeks and is being held in detention somewhere. It feels very much as if Egypt has gone back to the Mubarak era. It feels as if this is once again a police state. And the strange thing about it is that a lot of Egyptians would say they agree with that, and they believe that the army and the police were right to move in. They may not say it publicly, but a lot of Egyptians feel that the Muslim Brotherhood was bad for Egypt, and though they may regret the violence, they don't regret the fact that these protests may have been broken up.
All right, thank you very much, Jonathan, for your insight there. Do your best to try and stay safe in the light of the happenings today.